Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you, and it's Monday, which means it is time yet again for another one of our weekly viewer specials. If you're new to the channel or series, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you here. Second, what we do here every Monday is we showcase replays from you all, the viewers. It's a great opportunity to explore builds and strategies that I might not think of or have time to explore, and even more than that, it's a great opportunity for us to kind of come together as a community and cheer each other on, all in good fun and all that stuff. So, if you are interested in submitting for the viewer special, you're going to want to check out the description down below. One of those links is going to be an invite link to our Discord server, the HexLexPlex. Once you're in there, under the Master Duel section is a channel called Viewer Special Submissions. There you can drop your 9-digit player ID. That way I can see your publicly saved replays. If there is one replay in particular you really want me to watch, make sure to leave your opponent's name, the date and time, or a screenshot, something where I know that that is the replay you want me to see. But that's pretty much it. So now that we've got the opening spiel out of the way, let's go and take a look at some of your replays. Okay, our first replay comes to us from Kinoara, who's got quite the interesting build here. If we go and take a look at the deck, we are going to be on Kashtira, Fiendsmith, Hekahands. So it definitely makes sense to me why we're seeing the Kashtira engine here. With FENRIR now at 3, I talked about this in the video I posted, I think last week at this point now, where I was discussing builds where 3 FENRIR would be good, and I think literally every Fiendsmith deck could consider playing 3 FENRIR, because of course, if you special summon FENRIR and then normal summon literally any other monster, then you are able to go into your Fiendsmith engine, so that's pretty cool. I'll be interested to see here how Fiendsmith and Hekahands play with each other, because... Oh, are we going to use Rextrament here? That's cool. Anyway, yeah, we'll just go ahead and take a look at the game and see what all we end up doing. So our opponent is going to be on, looks like a relatively standard K9 Vanquish Soul build. There's so many different ways to use the Fiendsmith engine, it's kind of insane. I'm kind of thinking about making a video going over Fiendsmith and like all the different engines you can use. So let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, but... Alright, we're going first. We got the FENRIR and the Engraver, and we got Hekahand stuff, although I don't know... I don't think this one really lets us go into place. Anyway, FENRIR is going to summon and then add the Unicorn. Now we're going to go for the Engraver effect. Let's get those Fiendsmith plays going. Ooh, except we are going to get hit with the Ash Blossom. Kind of rough, or at least it would be, except for the fact that we do have some normal summonable hand traps, and yep, after normal summoning the Ghost spell, we can link it off with the FENRIR into Moon of Closed Heaven. The scary thing is here too, if the Engraver had resolved and this card was in our extra deck, we could have even made Baron de Fleur there. Anyway, so here's Requiem and Lacrima. Lacrima dumping the Engraver. Now we're going to use Engraver putting back the Moon in order to summon. After that, we're going to link the Engraver plus Lacrima into Sequence, I would assume. Yep. Okay, now Sequence gets to activate. We're going to shuffle back Engraver and Lacrima in order to make the Fiendsmith's Lacrima. Now Fiendsmith's Lacrima gets to activate, reviving Fiendsmith Engraver. Now I'll be interested to see here if we... Okay, we are going to end up linking everything off for a Bawaku, the Lightless Shadow. Okay. Lacrima is going to put back the Requiem, deal 1200, a Bawaku discards the Hekahand, and then summons. Now, we can look at a random card in the opponent's hand, and since it is a monster, it gets summoned to our field. Oh, and then we can fuse it away. So this is actually a starter for your Hekahands plays. Because I totally forgot that the materials for Jaza are a Hekahands monster... Well, it's not that the materials are a Hekahands monster plus a monster your opponent controls. That's just the alternate way of special summoning it from the extra deck. A face-up monster owned by your opponent and one illusion monster. Okay, so that's how we were able to pivot. I was wondering if we were gonna like pivot into Hekahands plays or just do Fiendsmith stuff, like make a Caesar and maybe an SP and then pass. No, we're going for it here. Setting the Eabel to negate monster effects. Our board is clear, so we can special summon the Kashtira Unicorn, go for Birth, and then activate Hekahand's Ibtel, summoning Gygus. Now, Gygus can look at the opponent's top 3 cards and summon one of them. We're going to take their Jokul, Cashier of Birth gets to revive the FENRIR, and then we're going to pass, getting our Baoku back in the process. Wow, so that's actually a really solid end board, right? We've got the Counter Trap Monster Negate, we've got FENRIR, Unicorn, and the Baoku as well. We've got Ash Blossom, Birth can banish. We're looking pretty solid here. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how we use this disruption on the opponent's turn. They're going to start with Normal Summon Dr. Madlove. We're going to fire off the Ash Blossom in response to that. And then after the Dr. Madlove resolves, looks like we're going to activate both FENRIR and Unicorn. So we're going to banish the Madlove, meaning they can't go into Rock the Vanquisher. And we rip the Nosh Knight from their extra deck. Except they're going to go Case for Canine. I want to point out real quick that I really like banishing the Nosh Knight in particular, because this is kind of like ripping 4 cards from the opponent's extra deck. Because without Nosh Knight, the CXC's Nosh Knight, the 104, and the C104 are all useless. So that's a really good singular hit. I like that. Alright, they're going to add Jokul off Case for Canine. Jokul's going to reveal the Noroi in hand and try to summon both, but we've got the Heka Hands Counter Trap, so we can negate and destroy that. And with no cards in our hand, they can't normal summon the Noroi either. And it looks like that's all they're able to do, as they're going to concede shortly afterward. Good stuff. Definitely a good example of showcasing how Heka Hands really can play the control game so easily, on top of swarming the board here. Love the use of a Baoku there with the Fiendsmith engine as well. Good stuff. Alright. Thank you very much, Kinoara. Let's go take a look at our next replay. Alright, our next game comes to us from SebasTorron, aka SebasTorron, over on the Discord server, and quite a few games with Elf Note here. I think, though, in particular, we're going to be looking at a mirror match right here. Yes, looks like we've got a going second Elf Note mirror. This is going to be our build. Looks like we're on the Fiendsmith package here. And for our opponent's build, let's see what they're rocking. Okay, they are also rocking a pretty standard build with the Fiendsmith package. So let's go and dive right on in and see how this mirror match ends up playing out. Again, we are going second here, so it'll be interesting to see what we can do in response to our opponent setting up their board. Okay, well, we've got the Fuelos. That's definitely a really good start. Triple Attack's also really good, not only in general, but especially going second. Okay, they're going to lead with Tinia, activating the Welcome Home. We get to chain the Fuelos in response. Good, good, good. Ooh, but they've got a Called by the Grave. That's definitely not good, good, good. So, looks like they are going to get to pop off here. Special Summon Tinia should be full combo. Let's see what they end up setting up here. Okay, they're going to summon Lucina to the center zone. It's already a little bit of a misplay, but not the end of the world, I guess. They can still make plays. But I think they should have summoned Lucina to another zone, and then they could send Welcome Home for Regina. Would give them an extra body here. I guess if they want it, maybe they don't feel like they need it. Okay, they're going to revive the Tinia off the Rhapsidia, normal summon Elf Note Power Patron, make the Seraphim Strelitzia. Elf Note Power Patron F adds another copy of Regina. Seraphim is going to revive Elf Note Power Patron. They level adjust, bump up the level, and then pass back over to us. Thankfully, they left Tinia in the center main zone, which means they can't hand rip right away, because it needs to move to the center main zone. So, that's already really good for us. Okay, they're going to use Valor against Lacrima the Crimson Tears, while we've got the triple tack, also extremely good for us. But I like that we're being patient with the triple tack. We're not using it just yet. We're going to instead link the Lacrima into Fiendsmith's Requiem and then activate to try to go for the Engraver. It looks like we're going to bait out some more disruption with the Engraver here, which again, I really, really like. And they let it go through. Wow, I'm really surprised, actually. Okay, it looks like they are using the Rhapsidia of Madness against our triple tacks here, reviving the Fortuna in the process. Except no, they chose not to negate. That's baffling. Because I'm pretty sure we would be able to negate, or they would be able to negate the triple tack there. Also, this face down card ended up being Imperm. They're going to use that against the Elf Note Fortuna. And then we get to link off into Sequence. Keep in mind, we still have our own Elf Note combo line we can go into thanks to the Tinia in our hand. But again, I really like that we're taking the time to pick apart the opponent's board before we commit to going into our combo line. Because we know they still have the Regina, and here she is. So I imagine she's probably going to summon, like, Lucina from deck. And they're going to swap and bounce one of our level 6s so we can't make Caesar. Looks like that is, in fact, exactly what's happening. We're going to link off the Sequence plus Engraver. Is this Little Knight? This is, in fact, SP Little Knight. So we're going to use the Little Knight effect, banishing the Lucina. Now, we're not able to attack directly, however, we are able to establish full control of the board, so much that our opponent is going to concede right then and there. So yeah, definitely able to win the Elf Note Mirror. Our opponent definitely could have played a lot better, but I think even if our opponent was playing optimally, our hand was looking really, really good to push through the things that they had. I think the only thing that could have made this hand better was like having Theo realize instead of Medius, and obviously opening Rhapsodia is never ideal, but yeah, good stuff. Thank you for that replay, Sebas. Let's go and take a look at our last game here. And our final replay for today comes to us from Timbo. Timbo is going to be on, I believe it's this replay here. We're going to be on Cool Tune. The Fairy build in particular are rocking the red Novas. Although, it doesn't look like we're playing the Orange Herald, which, when Cool Tune first came out, I think Orange Herald was still at 3, right? Because that was like one of the more recent ban lists. But the idea kind of was that like you could use these fairy monsters together. But Red Nova does still make a pretty decent support piece for the Cool Tune archetype. So, oh, and Diviner, that was the other fairy monster. Diviner are the heralds that they would use sometimes. Okay, looks like our opponent's going to be on Anamat Ryziel, which is a build I haven't seen around in quite some time, but it's still really solid. You know, when Ryziel Cross got banned, I think a lot of people kind of jumped ship from decks that focused on Ryziel. Obviously, there are still meta decks out there that play Ryziel, mainly Ryziel Mitsurugi, but Ryziel being the focus of the deck hasn't been the case for a little bit of time at least. Okay, so we opened Fulos and Imperm. We're looking pretty solid here. They're going to go for the Anamat pickup, and we're going to fire off the Fulos right away. I will say that I think if we were going to fire off Fulos that soon, we should have done it during the draw phase just to play around triple tack, but this is still definitely fine. Okay, so we're going to go for the Onomatopoeia, and we're going to go for our Cool Tune Clip. Synchro summoning with the Q in order to make Crackle, I would assume, because there's not much else you can make here, yeah. Okay, so they get to add the Dodo Warrior, as well as Gaga Ganbara Knight, and then we get to use the Cool Tune Crackle and Clip effects, as well as Cool Tune Q to look at the top couple of cards of their deck as well. But of course, the extra deck rips matter a lot more here. Okay, so they got Fua and Callby. We're going to banish Callby. And then, okay, what is that we ripped from their extra deck there? So it looks like the Clip got the Eclipse Twins. Keep in mind, the Clip banish is permanent. So that's pretty good for us. Eclipse Twins is a pretty important part of their combo line. And then we ripped the Gaga girls. So make sure I said the right amount of Gaz there. Okay, there's the Dodo Warrior, and then the Go Glove. Gonna summon out the Gaga Ganbara Knight from hand, and now we're gonna make our first rank 4, or they are rather. It's gonna be Ryziel Duo Drive. Of course, normally they'd go for the Gaga Girl here, but we ripped that from their extra deck. We get to Ash Blossom the Duo Drive Search, drawing that off the Fulos there. They're gonna special summon Sword Ryziel, go Sword for X. X to pitch Aggregator to get Crackle. Special summon Node, and they're gonna use 3 materials to make Detonator, giving us 1 more draw. Another Red Nova, definitely not ideal. It's pretty rough. Ooh, they might be going for more here. Yeah, they are gonna make another rank 4. What's this one gonna be, I wonder? It is Tornado Dragon. Okay. That is completely fine. I don't really know why they bothered to make that. Oh, to detach and then make another rank 4? They really want to give us a lot of draws here. I'm not quite sure why. I think that was really greedy of our opponent. Like, I get what they were going for. Like, Tornado Dragon, pop your own card to detach material to revive and then be able to make Giant Hand. And I think this would have been a really solid play if they weren't under Fulos. Like, I don't think giving the opponent, like when you're under Fulos or Mexi, you have to start evaluating every summon relative to the amount of draws you're giving your opponent. And a lot of the time I'll ask myself, like, okay, is this monster that I'm ending on worth giving them a draw? And I don't think making Tornado Dragon is worth giving us one draw here. I think they could have just made Giant Hand and had like an extra level 4 monster in play if they wanted to do that. Again, if they weren't under Fulos, that would have been fine, but here I think that was a little bit greedy of them. Alright, so we're drawing for turn. We're going to lead with Duelist Genesis, and they're going to use Detonator on Crackle, which actually works out pretty well for us because we can now use Imperm on one of their monsters, probably just the Detonator. Yeah, we're going to use it on Detonator. So now all we really have to worry about is the Giant Hand monster negate. I guess Tornado Dragon could pop JJ Cool Tune, the field spell, but... And then, of course, Crackle gets to revive and then rip a couple more cards from their extra deck. Not that that really matters for our turn, but... Okay, here's Synchro Overtake. Gonna summon out Mix by revealing the Remix. Now Mix gets to activate. Mirror Logic Aggregator, however, was detached earlier. That's why our opponent used the Detonator effect even though it was negated. So now they can negate the Mix. However, we've got Rotary, which is going to summon out the... Oh no, it summoned itself. And then it's tuning with Ash Blossom. But we revealed Red Nova. I got a little confused there for a second. I was like, wait, where's Red Nova? But you don't have to summon the thing you reveal. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to Rotary F, put back X to chain block the Trackmaker F to search JJ Cool Tune. Now that is going to get hit by the Tornado Dragon here. So it might have behooved us to grab like a Cool Tune Synchro instead, but I guess at the very least Tornado Dragon has no more materials. Okay, 4 plus 5 plus 1 is going to be the Cool Tune back to back. And then Cool Tune, Trackmaker, and Red Nova effects both get to activate here. Red Nova is going to summon Rekko from deck, Trackmaker bouncing the Duo Drive. Now Rekko gets to activate. Here's the opponent's Giant Hand. But that's going to be their only negate, and we have a lot more that we can do here. We're going to go Mix plus Rekko into the RS. And it's like pretty much over at this point. We're going to pop the Detonator, move to battle phase, back to back, swings over their monsters on board, and the RS has over 4k attack and can swing twice, meaning that that's going to be lethal. Alright, good stuff. Excellent game. Thank you very much, Timbo, as well as everybody else who submitted for the viewer special. We do this every week, so even if you didn't get featured, there is always the next week and the one after, so on and so forth. But beyond that, it really is very much appreciated and important that you submit, even if you don't get featured, because without any submissions, we could not do this series. And this really is one of my favorite series that we do here on the channel. So thank you all very much for submitting. But that's going to do it for now. Let's move on to our outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.